Colin Brown arrived home an hour before his wife Emily. He grabbed a beer from the refrigerator and sat down to relax. His attention was drawn to one of Emily's women's magazines on the coffee table. The main cover story read, 10 Ways to Tell If Your Spouse is Cheating. Normally, Colin would either ignore or laugh at such titles. However, over the past month, he had sensed a shift in the strength of his bond with Emily. He read the article and immediately chastised himself for trusting such lists. Nevertheless, after 6 years of marriage, the seed of doubt about his wife's behavior had been planted. A few days later, one of his colleagues visited him after lunch. "Hey Al, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw your wife having lunch with a guy. She works with several men. I suppose it's not unusual for her to have lunch with one of them from time to time. But do she and the guy usually hold hands, stroke each other, and hug?" He pulled out his phone and showed it to Colin. After watching the video for a couple of minutes, Colin remarked, "They really look very cozy, don't they? Did you happen to hear what they were talking about?" "No, I was too far away. I know they smiled, laughed, and looked at each other lovingly." "Did you see where they went then?" "No, by the time I paid the bill, they had already left." "Well, it's probably nothing, but I need to talk to Emily. Send me the video." "Do these questions make sense?" "Okay, spit it out." "Why are you actually asking these questions?" she demanded. Colin pulled out his phone and played the video for Emily. "So what?" "It looks like you are really friends with this person," Emily responded. She laughed and added, "You mean because he's gentle? You were both gentle. This is so cute." "Al, remember, appearances can be deceiving." "Well, I can't say he's gay. If you really want to know, talk to everyone I work with. Better yet, check out Spencer's Facebook page. He does not hide his gender preferences." Colin checked Facebook and discovered that the guy's profile indicated he was gay and in a gay relationship. Feeling ashamed, Colin regretted doubting Emily. A few days later, Emily called her husband to inform him that she would have to work late and that he should go ahead and eat without her. This was a rare occurrence, as Emily's job typically didn't demand extra hours in the evenings. Colin recalled the list. Unexpected delays at work were number 4 on the list of signs of cheating. Colin made his way to his favorite restaurant and placed an order. He intended to bring dinner to his poor, overworked wife, assuming she was indeed working. If he was mistaken, he would simply join her for the meal. Familiar with Colin, the guard allowed him entry. When the guard offered to notify his wife of his arrival, Colin declined. He wanted to surprise her. Oh, how he wanted to surprise her. As he neared her office, he picked up on 2 voices, one male and one female. Moving silently, he positioned himself by her door to listen in. When he heard his wife say, "That's really good," Colin eagerly opened the door, thrilled about their upcoming date. Inside, Emily and her colleague were standing over the architect's desk, examining a large sketch of an organizational chart. Both were fully dressed, and everything appeared perfectly normal. "I just wanted to bring my loving wife dinner," Emily replied with a smile. "This is so cute. Did you bring dinner for Jimmy too?" "Yes, I have already eaten." "Well, it's time for me to go home." "See you at home. Sorry to barge in." "Jimmy, I want to see my husband off. I'll be back in a second." They walked towards the elevator. Once the door shut, Emily's anger flared up. "Sorry, but I don't believe in a good husband. You've never done anything like this before. Enter my office without even knocking. If this has anything to do with your stupid jealousy again, we may have problems. We'll talk when I get home." Colin, feeling sufficiently scolded, anticipated a scandal. The situation began before Emily even had the chance to take off her coat and hang it up. "At first, I thought it was cute that you were jealous of me at lunch with Spencer. And now you're checking on me because I had to work late. Jimmy asked me if you're always so suspicious. This is getting more than annoying. If you think I'm making fun of you, I want to hear it now." She stood with her arms crossed over her chest, frowning. "The truth is, I love you deeply, and I'm aware that other men admire your beauty just as much as I do. I've always felt incredibly fortunate to be married to you. It's difficult for me to believe that other men don't make advances towards you. I'm worried that you might enjoy the attention. What nonsense. Well, other men hit on me occasionally, but that's not the issue. The issue is that you believe I might actually respond to their advances. Are you really that insecure about our relationship? If so, then I suggest you get this nonsense out of your head immediately. Emily headed to the bar and poured herself a drink while Colin went to prepare the guest bedroom. It was cool in the Browns' house that night. Colin felt relieved that Emily didn't seem so upset this morning. Colin, I'm so sorry I left you last night. I'm just disappointed that you seem to think about me and my possible betrayal. Look, I take my marriage vows very seriously. Since we got married, I haven't contacted anyone and don't plan to. You can't seem to understand that appearances can be deceiving. Moreover, I have never doubted your commitment to our marriage. I suppose I can expect the same. I just don't understand why this isn't the case. Having made the statement, she shed tears. Colin felt miserable. Sorry, honey, you helped me come to my senses. Please forgive me. I won't doubt you anymore. Emily walked over and kissed him. Let's leave all this talk about espionage and adultery in the past. Our marriage is too important to us to sabotage it by mistake. Remember, we will soon be adding little ones to our family. We cannot raise children in an atmosphere where one of us does not trust the other. It's enough for today. See you at dinner, and I won't work late. She smiled slyly. In the following days, Colin made a concerted effort to do things he believed Emily would appreciate. He brought her flowers, candy, chocolate, nuts, and caramel bars, and took her out to dinner. As a result, the atmosphere at home became much more pleasant. One evening, Colin was reviewing his online account and his online credit card account. Everything appeared normal until he reached the account for his joint credit card with Emily. They had paid for 3 days at a local 2-star motel. He realized those 3 days coincided with his business trip. Crap, not again. Recalling the last disaster, Colin was hesitant to ask her about it until he was certain it was what he feared. He started pondering how he could uncover the truth before making a fool of himself again, or, even worse, jeopardizing his marriage. Colin went to the hotel and asked the receptionist if he was on duty those 3 days. He then inquired whether the hotel had CCTV footage from that period, and indeed, it did. For $250, he was allowed to view the recording. Eventually, after fast-forwarding through the tape, it showed Emily opening the door to the room. With her was a man dressed casually. They entered. This was a couple of hours before Emily left. Although Emily never appeared to have stayed overnight, she did make several visits of varying lengths over the course of 3 days. The guy came and left several times alone, usually carrying food. Colin received a copy of the recording. Colin considered every possible scenario that could explain Emily's visits to the motel as legitimate, but he couldn't think of anything other than his worst fears. Should he confront Emily again? No, he needed more evidence. He consulted his lawyer, and by the time he left the office, he had initiated a divorce filing and hired a private investigator. The detective concealed cameras and tape recorders throughout the house, while Colin placed one in Emily's car. Despite weeks of daily video reviews and recordings, nothing out of the ordinary was found. However, the digital voice recorder in the car failed to capture a portion of Emily's candid conversation. "Hey, Craig, can we talk? I'm driving to work right now." "Sure, I'm on my way too. Are you prepared to share the details of our little adventure at the hotel?" "Not really," she replied. "I just wish we weren't so secretive. You know we can't talk about this in the office. You never know who might be listening. You know, you could always tell your husband about it." "Yes, of course, as if he'd understand why I need this." "Do you think we could ever do something like that again?" "I don't know. We have to pick the right moment. I don't want to explain what we're doing. The potential consequences are too severe." "All right, I'll wait. It's worth it." "Okay, but next time, you'll cover the room." They both laughed, bringing the conversation to a close. Colin was seething with anger. Let's see what this bitch has to say about this. He sent copies of the video and recordings to his lawyer. A copy of the marriage contract needed to be attached to the divorce application. Her adultery would leave her with only what she brought into the marriage. Colin would inform the lawyer when to pull the trigger. Emily removed her coat and tossed her purse onto the sofa. Colin, seated at the kitchen table, sipped on a beer. His laptop, positioned in front of him, faced the living room. Beside the computer lay an envelope, and on the opposite side rested a digital voice recorder. Judging by that smug grin on your face, you must have something planned. You better not get caught up in any adultery again. This time, things won't turn out so well. Colin then played a video showing the hotel room, capturing Emily entering and exiting, occasionally staying for over an hour. Is that everything? Before I respond, do you have anything else? Colin played the recording of the conversation in the car, his confidence diminishing in the face of Emily's smug demeanor. Emily smiled as she listened to the call recording. This will cost you dearly, asshole. First, the video. I agree that it shows me going in and out of a hotel room with a man. His name is David. What you don't see is that his sick wife is in the room. Don't you remember that my office helps support the Fairview homeless shelter? David and his wife used their time at the shelter just as they began to get back on their feet. The shelter agreed to pay for 1 week in a motel. They needed more time. Craig and I decided to help them, although we had no intention of doing so. I paid for 3 more days before they went into an apartment under the supervision of mental health center staff. David's wife is a former military personnel who is physically disabled and suffers from PTSD. I spent some time in the room talking to them about where they were moving and about David's job prospects. I tried to support them and cheer them up. Craig and I were secretive because we risked losing our volunteer positions by going against agency policy. If the agency made exceptions to its support duration rule, everyone else would expect the same, and they don't have the budget for that. If our company discovered that we were ousted by an agency they mainly support, it could negatively impact our work. While I don't think they'd fire us, it could affect our future raises and promotions. The conversation with Craig is now easy to understand, knowing what the secret was. Play the recording again. See if you hear anything in our conversation that specifically mentions sex or cheating on our spouses. You'll hear that you took our conversation about our secret act of kindness and turned it into something sinister. You just had to make some assumptions. You don't deserve any respect after what you did. You say you love me, but you don't trust me. I'm not sure I can stay married to a man who doesn't trust me. Are those divorce papers in front of you? Shut up. After your last bout of distrust, I pondered what to do if it happened again. I concluded that simply leaving you wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't affect you because, clearly, you don't care much about me if you can believe I want another man. I realized something else too. Over the past few years, you are the one who got a new wife. But you. Emily, I swear to God, I've never touched anyone else. Spare me this theatricality. I'm sick of your hypocrisy. I didn't mean another human woman. I was talking about business. You're so engrossed in growing the business and preparing to take over the reins in a few years that the business has become your wife. Colin remained silent. This is what you will do if you want us to stay married. Keep in mind, I don't care what you decide. However, I will agree to stay married. Part of my reasoning will be that I will enjoy revenge on you every day until I am satisfied. Another reason I would stay married is that I would just as quickly get rid of all the confusion, hassle, and expensive lawyers that can come with a messy divorce. And believe me, if I decide to get a divorce, it will be terrible. Darling, I'll do everything to save our marriage. Tell me what I can do. Please, give me a chance. Damn you. You made me lose my train of thought. Yes, the divorce petition. Have your lawyer destroy this divorce petition and instead rewrite the marriage contract. The first thing is to get rid of the part about if one party can prove that the other committed adultery. Then, add the part about me getting 25% of your business, 60% of your assets, and alimony of $5,000 per month for 5 years, regardless of who initiates the divorce and regardless of the grounds. If that sounds harsh, well, hard shit. I have to do something that will scare you enough to stop these fraudulent cheating accusations. Consider carefully the consequences of continuing to distrust me. And there's more. Should I ever catch wind, catch sight, or even sense you investigating my fidelity, I will castrate you. This nonsense about signs of cheating ends immediately. After a brief pause to let her husband absorb her words, Emily went on. What I said are the conditions under which we can remain married. Call me when you decide. Emily exited the house and drove off. Colin was in despair. Why can't I learn? I'm such a fool. I should have trusted her. What will happen to my trust in her? Maybe she's right about me focusing more on the business than on her. I really don't want a divorce. Maybe I don't deserve her. At the very least, I need to make amends for as long as it takes. I guess I'm lucky that she's giving me a second chance. He reached out to his lawyer, instructing him to drop the divorce proceedings and focus on renegotiating the prenuptial agreement. Despite his lawyer's strong objections, Colin remained firm. The following day, a private investigator contacted Colin. Send me the latest bill. Now I cannot. I'll have to see how long it takes me to remove all the cameras and recorders. However, you can save money if you take them off and return them to me yourself. This would help me since the catch the adulterer business is really booming right now. You know what they say, blessed are the scammers, because they keep private investigators in business. He grinned. Of course I can do it. Colin left work early just in case Emily came home. He set about removing all the cameras, which proved to be quite a challenge. Some were positioned in high places, causing him to strain his back as he searched. When he tried to retrieve the recorder from the kitchen cabinet near the home phone, he accidentally pushed it even deeper. Stretching to reach the tape recorder strained his back even further. He barely made it to the chiropractor, but fortunately, the chiropractor was able to help. He was prescribed muscle relaxants and advised not to strain his back for about a month. Darn, I hurt my back while trying to get the last recorder. With a visit to the chiropractor, it completely slipped my mind. I have everything in my basement except for one voice recorder. I'll head home right now and bring everything to you this afternoon. After dinner, Colin went home. It was clear that Emily had prepared breakfast and hadn't cleaned up. Colin reached for the last recorder. To avoid straining his back, he took out the grabber. After a few attempts, he managed to grab the recorder and pull it out. He noticed that there was a new recording made since the last check. As Colin headed to the office, he opted to play the recording. He identified the voices of Emily and the man he believed to be Craig. The conversation was in person, likely taking place in the living room. He heard Emily offer, "Would you like a drink first?" "Yes, well, my husband won't be home for a few more hours, but I need to be back at work by 2 o'clock. Did you mention anything about a marriage contract?" "Everything is fine. I'm just waiting for the right moment. I don't want to be completely impoverished because of her. But your cutie will soon be filthy rich. Do you really think that I won't take care of you?" "Great, another man who doesn't believe in me," Emily laughed. "I must admit that you handled it flawlessly." Magazine article on the coffee table. Lunch with a gay man. Jesus, I had to put up with that fruit for 3 lunches before Colin's damn friend finally saw us. I was afraid that I would have to toss Spencer on the table to get his attention. Then evening work with Jimmy. It's good that Colin came on time. Jimmy was upset that he had to stay late at work for something that obviously could have been done in 15 minutes during the day. I just assumed his lawyer would recommend it. I searched for a couple of days before I found them in the house and one recording device in the car. I just checked. Now they are all removed. The best thing is the motel fee and the fake phone call. I'm glad you gave me the script. I think I would have messed it up if I had to improvise. I had to choose my words carefully so that they could be interpreted in 2 ways. It worked perfectly. Everything worked perfectly. You're so smart, it's scary. Well, there was one trap that didn't work. Did you forget about the cum on my panties? I hoped he would find it and accuse me of treason. Then I planned to make him do a test and discover it was just mayonnaise. It would have been funny to attack him for being jealous of my mayonnaise. You know, I wanted to be very careful and not have sex in case Colin got lucky and discovered us. However, I think we are safe now. Colin would never spy on me again. If he detected something, he would be too scared to do anything. That's the beauty of my plan. Since he won't test me, we can have sex without worrying too much. Today, I am more than ready. This is the first time we've had more than an hour. Just think, soon we will be able to make love all day and all night as much as we want. And we can do it in Hawaii, in Rio, in Bermuda, or in the penthouse of the Hyatt Hotel. I will still keep my current sex life with my wife on low heat, just to be on the safe side. We're too close to explode now. Remind me, how long are you planning to wait before divorcing her? It will take a couple of years until she turns 30 and inherits her grandfather's share of the business. At that point, he will pay us a fortune, 7 to 8 figures, to regain the 25% of his business that I'll receive in the divorce. He would never relinquish that much control. Don't worry, baby. We can have sex, but only when the time is right and Colin can't catch us. 2 years, I don't know if I can endure it for that long. Darling, we reached this point by being smart and careful. Just be patient a little longer. All right, I'll visit a lawyer soon and take action. Honestly, I don't think I need to worry about what I'm getting from my marriage as long as I'm with you. So, shall we head to the bedroom? No, I don't want to bother with new sheets. Let's do it on the carpet. It'll make it seem dirtier, more interesting, and easier to clean. I bet I can undress faster than you. A rustling sound filled the air, and soon, Colin could hear them having sex. The most painful part was that she started comparing her lover to him. Unsurprisingly, the comparison didn't favor him. Colin was nearly catatonic. Once he regained his composure, he went back to his office. He called his detective and said, "I want to buy the remaining tape recorder. The rest of the equipment will be returned." He called his lawyer, who was pleased to revert to the divorce decree and disregard the new prenuptial agreement. Colin informed Emily that there was an issue. His lawyer had resigned, believing the new prenuptial agreement wasn't in Colin's best interest. He assured her that he had found a new lawyer who was solely motivated by getting paid. The new marriage contract should be finalized in about a week. Meanwhile, Colin got to work. 10 days passed, and he asked Emily to meet him at their home. When she arrived, she was stunned to see a replay of the last scene in the house. Colin, a laptop, a tape recorder, and an envelope all laid out on the kitchen table. Colin had that same smug look, as if he'd just swallowed a canary. It would be better if we don't repeat what happened last time. I'm taking the sharpest knife we have. You should have said, "Show me the proof." Emily felt uneasy. She searched her memory, attempting to find some clue. Nothing came to mind. Okay, Sherlock, what do you have? Colin initially played the recording of her conversation with Craig, but all the recording devices were seized. She began to panic. It is illegal to record personal conversations. You can't use this in court. Colin then played the video on his computer. It was Craig. Craig confessed to everything, stating it was Emily's idea. He's lying. You must have bribed him or threatened to tell his wife. I will crucify you in court. In court, videos and recordings were permitted since it wasn't a criminal trial, and it was Emily who faced the brunt of the situation. The prenuptial agreement was upheld, leaving her with only what she had brought into the marriage, just under $3,000. Additionally, she had substantial legal fees, but her lawyer was unfortunate. Emily vanished, taking her money and car with her.